Honorable Director IARI, Dr. A.K. Singh, invited guests, heads of different divisions, professors, Honorable Director IARI, invited guests, heads of different divisions, professors, research fellows, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon and welcome to this very important award lecture by recipient of Dr. A.B. Joshi Memorial Award, instituted in the field of agricultural research and education to commemorate the memory of late Dr. A.B. Joshi, the first Indian Dean of this prestigious institute, Director and Deputy Director General Crop Sciences, ICR, New Delhi. I take it proud privilege in welcoming all the dignitaries on the dais, the chairperson of this session, Dr. K.V. Prabhu, chairperson PPFRA, our honorable director, IARI Dr. A.K. Singh, and the recipient of this important award, Dr. G.P. Singh, Director, Indian Institute of Wheat and Barley Research, Karnal. I entreat the dignitaries on the dais for the lighting of lamp and to solemnize the floral tribute to Dr. A.B. Joshi. I request our honorable director to welcome the chairperson of this session with a bouquet of flowers. I also request him to present the token of love and welcome to our awardee, Dr. G.P. Singh. May I now request our honorable director for the formal welcome address and introducing the chairperson of this session to this august gathering.
Very good evening to each one of you. Most esteemed Dr. Prabhu, chairperson for today's award lecture, and the most distinguished awardee of Dr. A.B. Joshi Memorial Award, Dr. Gyanand Pratap Singh, who is currently Director of Indian Institute of Wheat and Barley Research, all my distinguished colleagues in the audience, students, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very prestigious award in the name of Dr. A.B. Joshi, who served in very many capacities in this particular institute. He was head division of genetics, then he served as Deputy Director General of Crop Science, and later became Director IARI, and brought in several innovation in the research system, and that I think Dr. Prabhu will be able to tell much better because of his deep association. I have a special privilege to welcome Dr. Prabhu as a chair of this particular function, whom I have known for maybe more than 4 decades as a student in Banaras University. When I was in bachelor and he was doing his master's about to complete. We had about overlap of 6 months. And even at that point of time, he had a very distinct personality, persona, and identified by the students and staff, all the community there. And since then he has been a role model for me in particular, and I have followed him since then. After coming to IRI, we had very close association as head division of genetics, and prior to that he worked at Simla after joining IARI service, and did pioneering work on rust genetics. And after coming to IRI, he continued work in rust genetics and did mapping of first time, in fact, many of the genes in for rust resistance, identified molecular markers, and those markers are being used worldwide in the molecular breeding program. As a person, if I describe him, I would say the clarity, confidence, conviction, and courage. These are the 4 C's to describe Dr. Prabhu, which he has followed as a principle in his life. And this is something which is very difficult. Alfred Adler has said that it is easier to fight for one's principle than to live up to them. But Dr. Prabhu is one who has lived up to those principles for which he fights. And that's very, very gratifying things. In terms of his landmark contribution in science, as I said, pioneering work in rust genetics and molecular breeding in wheat and mustard, rice, many crops, his support on the policy front has been exemplary. And quite a few examples, they are there. If I say, for example, the definition of basmati was to be changed for the better region to enhance our export potential. Existing definition of basmati rice said that a variety can be called as basmati only if it has a traditional basmati as a parent. None of our basmati varieties, the dwarf varieties, had immediate parent as a traditional variety. So that definition would not qualify any of the variety as basmati. And this was a very tough battle to fight with the Commerce Ministry, with Agriculture Ministry, and many times at the stake of one's career, which he took. The definition was later modified, saying that definition basmati should be defined by the characteristics, by quality, and not by the lineage, immediate lineage. That was accepted. Then second came of geographical indication, that basmati is protected under geographical indication, and what should be the demarcation of GI areas. 7 states only identified as GI for basmati, and for that he would have given maybe more than 30-40 affidavits in the court of law, whether it is High Court, Supreme Court, Chennai, every places, to see that the definition of the GI area is not diluted. There are other states, for example, Madhya Pradesh, they are trying hard that they should also be included as part of GI, while they do not have any history of basmati cultivation, and GI is associated with basmati. Dr. Prabhu has fought this battle again, and the battle is still on, but the 7 states are recognized as the basmati GI area, which has led to the export earning that has gone to almost 32,000 crores. And there is a recognition of the area and the quality, because if basmati comes from as a produce from Madhya Pradesh, it will not fetch the same price as it comes from the Indo-Gangetic plain of these 7 states. So again, a very landmark decision. The third thing that I can remember, which is extremely important, is the release of variety HD2967. This variety, after testing in the national trial, coordinated trial, for the region best known to the people who are in the policy, was not released, was not identified for release. And then it was again a very long battle. It took almost 2 years of fight, meetings, this and that finally 2967, the comment used to be that it is neither high yielding nor low yielding, neither resistant nor susceptible, a statement which does not make any sense. And that's what Prabhu exactly said to those who matter in the policy making, and they understood the fact, and 2967 was released, and today we talk of its popularity, 10 million hectare plus area, 50 million tons of wheat production in the country coming from these varieties is a remarkable contribution in policy, and many times you have to fight beyond the limits, otherwise things do not happen. That's what Dr. Prabhu has done, and I am thankful that he has accepted our invitation to chair this particular function, and it's a rare occasion that GP, Dr. Prabhu, and me, they are all alumni of Banaras Hindu University sharing the dais today. Just a coincidence. Thank you, Dr. Prabhu.
I request the esteemed chair to kindly introduce the meritorious awardee of this prestigious award and renowned wheat breeder, Dr. G.P. Singh, to this august gathering.
Good evening, friends. Nobody can experience the kind of pleasure that I am now at the moment experiencing in having to introduce Ganan Pratap Singh to this crowd here. Only about 2 days back, we read in the newspaper calling him Wheat Man of India. GP, he is a tall guy, but the varieties he has bred are taller than whatever any breeder in one career can imagine, to the extent that it has served the purpose of releasing varieties. And I have known GP very closely. He was my closest associate in one of the most important prestigious projects. Actually, he did the errands. I only was using the wand here and there, but most of the time it was only GP who did everything in that project, and his, of course, other teammates like PK Singh and many, Neelu Jain, many. It was wonderful team effort which GP showed and GP did. That's an example of how networking in plant breeding is so crucial in order to be successful plant breeder from the rest of the crowd. See, plant breeding profession among the agricultural scientists is possibly the largest populated discipline in terms of scientists. But the ones who have succeeded are those who have had ability to share, ability to network by making the best of testing skills and testing avenues used for enabling the selection as most tested selection. That's what GP did very effectively. He had friends in every corner where wheat breeding happened, and that's how I rode on that popularity of GP in becoming one of the best wheat projects in the world. In fact, 2 years ago, this team won Wheat Stewardship Award, where GP was a prominent participant in. Borlaug Bechel Wheat Global Wheat Stewardship Award. He won it. GP has been one of those few breeders who, even if he hasn't got into the basic details of the new tools available, new technologies available, would be able to see the practical usage of those and apply those without hesitation. It was really fantastic to be having associate like GP in a team is a fantastic boon to anybody who wants to lead. The leadership is done just by having a fellow like GP as your close teammate. Why I am saying GP is that is the case. GP, आज ये हो जाएगा. He would not even question इससे क्या होगा क्या नहीं होगा. He would simply say find out how it has to be done and he would do it. See, we were the first people to adopt alpha lattice in our entire planting program. Entire group now does it, and he is architect. I just said let's do alpha lattice. It takes care of so many other problems in trialing. The errors which happen because of blocks, because of location of variety in a block, so many things which causes variation in coming to right assessment of the material, and then equal opportunity to share the heterogeneity in the field together. So that's a fantastic design, and it's a very tough design to allocate materials to plots and then accordingly analyze it. He did it fantastically well. Then so many things. I mean, I can speak for 1 hour to describe GP's fantastic ability to be the team member who would dedicate to do the job as per time. So I have to leave for Bharatpur immediately after this, and I had no hesitation in believing GP will finish in time because he would do everything very fast. I have not seen anybody who would do anything you ask him of and do it so fantastically efficiently quickest. I have not seen anybody. I have no hesitation in saying it. So quick in executing in large areas. See, at times we used to have more than 35 acres of one experimentation. Okay, group of trials, of course, but one experimental unit used to be 28 to 35 acres in all the years, and he would manage it most beautifully in every respect. So it's a great point for us, for me, to have already known that Sai Prasad, who is also one of our teammates, who is sitting here in the front here, also won an award today, Sukumar Bose Basu Award, for again the same group. He was also partner in the same team. So it gives me so much of, I don't know what is the right word for it, an elated feeling that the team has served, and my role as creating a team, or as somebody who had the opportunity of bringing together talent. Rajbir is sitting here, Vinod is sitting here, fantastic, each one. And that's been the greatest value, and GP utilized all of these associations to the best, to the hilt, and he would be the first person, whether he were not a cytogeneticist, he would not do cytogenetics, but he had no hesitation in using wild species, derivatives of wild species, and experimenting their abilities for best drought tolerance material, heat tolerance material. So he became more than wheat man, he became the drought heat tolerant breeder man in the world. And he is known globally now, just by his work. You hardly see him like most people like me. We are already on the somewhere or about we are on the scene and among the thicker groups who manage things and visible. GP, though he is tall and visible, but then he would not be visible in that perspective. But he was simply doing work as required and finished it quickly. You would see him taking a walk when I am going back to for a tea break from my office. I would see him and his wife, who is also as tall as he is, take a walking stroll, but that does not mean he would not have worked hard for the toil. He would do that way from 8 a.m. till 5 o'clock without wasting any time. That's what is management of the breeding material, the way it is to be stored, to the way it is to be planted, the way it is to be harvested, the way it is to be everything. So it's a fantastic group, and I'm very happy, GP, that you are a recipient here. Ashok has already told how good our varieties SD 2967 and 2086. It's a world record. 2967 is a world record, although agriculture being agriculture and India being India, we do appreciate GS Khush or appreciate say others like Dr. Borlaug. Of course, they are all great guns, there's no doubt about it. But the extent of spread of one variety in a year consistently for more than 5 years has never been this way. GS Kush IR64 has 4.7 million hectares as the maximum ever. That too put together entire world wherever it is being grown, put together. Here only in India, SD2967 has crossed 10 million hectares for last 4 years and 8 million hectares for last 6 years. You have never had anything like this, and I don't think anything, Kalyan Sonas or Sonalikas, none of these varieties touch this. That's fantastic. And GP is one of, R.K. Sharma is also sitting here. So it was a wonderful team effort that led to this. And GP is an example of that. And today, when he's presenting it, it will come the same way, I'm very sure. He will show those things which are basically because of his superb networking ability. And that's the trick of the trade today in plant breeding, or any science for that matter. Our friend sitting here uh, from the soil science group, he also knows how it is to get things done in such a way for the soil testing STFR, which is now patented, is again networking point. So this is what is important, friends, and I believe all of you sitting here use GP like a role model who can be famous just by working, not by making contacts or being able to come together with higher, to be seen among big shots is not what GP did. But he did is what he is as a Wheatman of India, most deserved, and fantastic that he is getting A.B. Joshi Award, who was principally a wheat man, and that's how it is. So it's very good that you get A.B. Joshi Award and you feel very happy about it. That's great. Thank you. And I now invite GP to make his presentation. I forgot to mention he has all the important awards of ICAR, Rafi Ahmed Kidwai Award, to Nanaji Deshmukh Award, to many awards he has won, including our BP Pal Award, VS Mathur Award, many, which are main important to plant breeder. GP has got it. He is a fellow of National Academy also.
Thank you, sir. I do not know whether I deserve it or not. Honorable Chairman, Elder Brother Dr. K.V. Prabhu, Dr. A.K. Singh, Director IARI, Madam Rashmi Agrawal, Dean and Joint Director Education IARI. First of all, I would like to thank IARI for giving me this opportunity after a gap of nearly 3.5 years to come back again on the floor of IARI. Last time it was BP Paul Award, and it's always a great pleasure to have to come back again to IARI, because most important and productive years of my career has been spent here in IARI, nearly 16 years or so. So thank you very much, sir, for giving me this opportunity. I am really thankful for this award, because this is of course a very prestigious award of IARI. Well, the topic of this presentation I have designed as wheat improvement for food and nutritional security. First of all, I would like to pay my tributes to Professor A.B. Joshi, who was instrumental researcher in genetics and plant breeding, of course a very renowned wheat breeder, whose contribution made it possible to usher the green revolution. He was one of the primary architects of green revolution. The country is now realizing food security because of these stalwarts in the past. Now, before going into the main presentation part, I would like to just highlight the importance of All India Coordinated Wheat Improvement Project, which happened 1965 onwards, where the production was 7 times, has increased since then, the productivity thrice, and the area, of course, was not much increased, it was 1.5 times more. And I'm very happy to tell all of you that this year India has harvested more than 100 million tons of wheat, 102.2 million tons, and the government of India has decided once again to commemorate this event by releasing a postage commemorative stamp. And this is an honor to all the wheat workers, particularly from IARI and elsewhere, for their contributions. And I am just only taking this honor on their part. When we see the productivity of varieties and also the state, this time it has happened that India has achieved 3.5 tons of productivity for the first time. And many of the states have crossed national productivity, including Haryana, Punjab. For the first time this has happened that Uttar Pradesh also is more than the national productivity. And if we see the projections of this year, I think if I am not wrong and not mistaken, India is likely to overtake rice production this year. With 3 million hectares of more area, 33 millions, and a minor jump in productivity from last year, we are all likelihood going to get 115 million tons of wheat, which is enormous. I think government has to consider what is to be done of this much amount of wheat, but this is a very phenomenal achievement, I would say, in terms of production and productivity. Now when we go to the technological intervention post-green revolution, many things have happened. Dr. Prabhu has mentioned several of the varieties, the Larma Roho, the Sonalika has happened. But one of the important pioneering thing which has happened is introduction of 1B, 1R translocation from cement, which percolated in India and led to a very high jump in the yields. And another thing which has been happening silently is development of biofortified varieties in India. And I am very happy here, Dr. D.K. Yadav is present here. The ICR has come up with a publication of biofortified varieties out of maybe 25, 30 odd varieties, 53 now. I'm not sure about the real figures of wheat, but in the last publication, out of 30 or 35, 11 were from wheat, 17 varieties. Thank you very much. So you can see this is silently happening, and not only the food security is assured, but also as per the flagship program of the Government of India, the nutritional security is also being ensured in due course of time. Several of the varieties mentioned by Dr. Prabhu had been landmarked, but I would like to mention here two most important ones in the very recent past, the HD 2967 and HD 3086. And I am feeling very, very proud to say that these two varieties from our group is responsible for more than 50% of production what India is getting. So if we assume now 102 as per the fourth advance estimate, I think 60 million ton is coming out of these varieties, these two. And of course the area, if we consider, is more than 50% now. And but of course there are always certain challenges which we have to tackle. One of the important challenges is the ever-growing population, which is expected to be 9 billion by 2050 as far as India is concerned, world is concerned. And we have to feed this ever-growing population. And there are certain production challenges also associated. The temperature is increasing, a lot of talk about climate change, weather hazards, the sea level rising, the droughts, the frequent droughts, excessive rains, and several of the abiotic stresses happening. And you see here heat stress. Fortunately, last year was very, very conducive for wheat production. But when we consider, when I took over as a director of the Indian Institute of Wheat and Barley Research in 2016, the production was 92 million tons. I think after 3.5 years, I am feeling very satisfied that we have already crossed 102 millions of wheat production, and we are talking of more than 110 or 115 now. So this period of 5 years, if you assume, I think we have increased the production by something around 25 million tons, which has never happened in the past, not even in the period of Green Revolution. I would like to repeat again that this has never happened in Green Revolution also. So this is a very phenomenal success which India is witnessing nowadays in terms of wheat production. Of course, there are difficulties as far as climate is concerned. The temperature is rising, the frequent drought and heavy rains are happening. So we have to tackle all these things in perspective and continue the wheat improvement program of the country in such a way that not only the food is ensured for each and every citizen of this country, but also the nutritional security is also ensured. As per the assumption of 2030 vision document, we need to produce 140 million tons of wheat by 2030, but I am pretty sure, I think we are going to get this target much before 2030. So in that way, we are quite comfortable as of now. As far as the technological front is concerned, of course the weather god is also favoring, but I would like to remind the distinguished audience, the faculty of IARI, that during the last 5 years, only 1 year has been favorable for wheat production. The rest of the 4 years were not favorable. Even then, we have witnessed increase in wheat production. Now, as far as I am concerned, I began my journey from Central Potato Research Institute, surprisingly. Later on, I shifted to wheat when I was transferred from CPRI to DWR at that time in 1995. And I joined in IARI in 2001 along with the Honorable Director and several of the colleagues sitting here. And then after spending so much year, 16 years, I went to IIWBR again as director. This is in brief of my professional career. So far, I have been associated with the development of 45 wheat, 2 barley and 1 potato varieties. Developed 40 genetic stocks for different traits. We have got from our group 15 of the varieties registered with PPB FRA. Who is being led by Honorable Chairman. We have 5 copyrights with us now. We have mentored 10 scholars teaching. As far as I was here, I was involved in 3 courses. We have registered, patented 3 IT tools. And as far as the research publication is concerned, up till now, I think 185 or so publications in peer-reviewed journal, in which out of 184, 112 were more than 6 NAS scores. And as I said, more than 45 varieties, but I would like to mention only few of them because they had been the landmark ones. I am not giving more emphasis now on 2967 because there is a gradual area decrease now and it is being in the period of phasing out. Newer varieties are occupying, which has again been developed by our group only. The newer one is current Narendra DBW222, which has been released from IIWBR for timely sown. One of the varieties, DBW187, which is now called as current Vandana, has recorded a yield level of 110 quintals per hectare, which is of course phenomenal, I would say, which has never happened so far. And on an average, the new trials which we have started, it has recorded an average yield level of 85 quintals across location. Of course, not to talk about 3086, much has been told about this variety. I would like to say that varieties from our group has been released in each and every agroclimatic conditions of this country. In rain-fed ecosystem, in irrigated ecosystem, in timely sown irrigated conditions in northwestern India, the eastern Indo-Gangetic plains. And when we see the total amount of breeder seed being produced during the last 10 years, it started from 5 to 10% during 2009-10, and now our varieties are having a share of almost 43% of the breeder seed. And when we talk of total production, I think I have already said is more than 60%, only taking into account the two varieties. So not only in terms of breeder seed production, but also share in total breeder seed production is increasing telescopically. And that is a situation which is very, very alarming. I don't feel very happy about this situation, because if our varieties are almost to the tune of 50%, then that means many of the major wheat breeding stations in India, which has been known for doing good work, are now disintegrating. They are not coming out with good varieties. To name few of them is PAU, HAU, Hisar, Pantnagar. They are now nowhere in wheat breeding activities nowadays. So that is a thing which is not very pleasing to me as a director of the Indian Institute of Wheat and Barley Research, but as a personal front, I think I am feeling very, very happy. Now when you see, it has contributed 418 billion rupees, the single varieties. If we take the MSP of 2019, I am talking only about 3086, and area is more than 5 million hectares now, as per our estimate. So this is one of the variety which is bred from our own breeding program, giving I think till only yesteryears it was one of the most important variety having highest genetic potential so far, 71 quintals. But now we have, of course, 110 quintal coming from our own program. And as far as the popularization of the technology is concerned, this is an old photograph which was pictured in Karnal, but when I was in Delhi only. When you see the total MOUs which have been registered with this variety is more than 201, and I am not sure whether this has further gone up. So the total amount of revenue earned is more than 1 crore. But one thing I would like to remind, sir, is that significant revenue generation is also coupled with unprecedented seed production by private industry. And this is the key mantra of the success of our varieties. When we have engaged the private people with the public organizations for seed production, because the fate of National Seed Corporation or any other state-owned seed production machinery is known to each and everybody. So under the leadership of Dr. Prabhu and the director at that time, Dr. H.S. Gupta, this was one of the important interventions from IARI which happened. Now I would again would like to inform our learned chairman and also the director of IARI that the same model was implemented in IIWBR, and we have gone for 182 registrations with the company, and the revenue earned for DBW 187 is more than 1.25 crore, which is probably by far the largest revenue earned in single year. So this is the model which is now being followed, and I hope IRI will also be coming up with several of the varieties which will be registered with the seed companies in due course of time, to name with HD3226. This is the variety, and one of the very poor farmer in Gorakhpur area, Koila Devi, and probably the director IRI was there in the last wheat workshop, where I called this lady, Koila Devi, in the wheat workshop and honored her. She harvested a yield of more than 80 quintals, and the success story was posted on the ICR website also. So this is one of the very few examples where we have demonstrated that varieties can yield more than 8 tons, which was never thought of earlier in eastern plains also. These are some of the varieties which have been fairly successful. I will not go into the details. One thing I would like to mention here is in the Durum Wheat Improvement Program. Of course, we have discontinued the Durum breeding program in IIWBR just to favor our friend in Indore. But this is one variety which has been released this time, this year, DDW 47, has this has shown yellow pigment content of more than 7.5 ppm, which has not been done so far. So this is unique, and we are also looking forward to have registrations for this variety. Another variety which is has been bred at the IIWBR is having a grain softness as good as Nepal, DBW 168. Extremely significant achievement, since so far we have been talking about Nepal wheat, which is a land race grown in Himalayas, having a very soft wheat, but when we talk of biscuits and making biscuit industry to supply with this kind of variety, this is one of the important contributions from IIWBR. One of the new initiative is the very high yield potential trial, which I had just talked on, and some of the varieties like DBW 303, you can see here a yield potential of 80 quintal on an average, and DBW 187, 78 quintal on an average per hectare productivity, and WH 1270. These are some of the promising line. These are coming with agronomic manipulation, Dr. V.K. Singh. We have coupled this new trial in such a way that the plant breeding and the agronomic manipulation go hand in hand together, so that if you want to develop varieties plus 8 ton, you need to have a special agronomy, and we are doing this. And of course, popularization of wheat varieties, I have learned here only at this institution premises, and I think we have been doing this very successfully, not only in IARI New Delhi, but also elsewhere in IIWBR, Karnal and Indore. And this is one of the important success stories of wheat improvement program in both the places. These are some of the 40 odd genetic stock. I'm sorry it's not very visible here, but we go for modern tools. As Dr. Prabhu told the audience that we had been for the last 10 years, almost a decade, has been working on abiotic stress tolerant and tolerance, and India has been one of the key partners with the Generation Challenge program, where a program was implemented in both India and China, where for improvement of drought tolerance. And some of the modern tools, as he said, I was not very, I would rather say myself as illiterate regarding these modern tools are concerned, but I tried to learn all these things, and probably we were the first group to implement MARS, the molecular assisted recurrent selection. Of course, in wheat, molecular assisted backcross breeding program has been happening for a longer time, but MARS was one of the things which has never happened so far. And fortunately, sir, this was one of the first publication, thanks to Nilu and a colleague from Wheat Improvement Program. This was the first publication in PLOS 1 which has reported a molecular assisted recurrent selection in self-pollinated crop. This has happened in cross-pollinated crops, but never happened in the self-pollinated crops. And we had been focusing on the very precise throughput, high throughput phenotyping for having a success in terms of drought tolerance is concerned, and we had been fairly successful with the development of magic populations with foundation lines of so many varieties. I think it was more than 16 parental lines, 8 founder and 28 two-way crosses were made, and now I think this magic population is almost ready for use in the breeding program for drought tolerance. And this was one of the first product, I would say, in case of wheat from Mars, which was tested in All India Coordinated Wheat Improvement Program. Unfortunately, because of several other considerations, this was not successful in crossing over to final year of evaluation. But I think we can always have it registered in the NBPGR as one of the genetic source for drought tolerance for further for use in the improvement program. We have also evaluated the Mars population, and in one of the instances, in one of the lines, 13 QTLs were accumulated. This was also, I would rate as one of the most important and significant contributions of our group, where in single line 13 desirable alleles and QTLs have been accumulated for drought tolerance. And this was as per the design developed by the people from Generation Challenge program. I will not go into the details of this. Dr. Prabhu is well aware of all this. We have done this in his leadership only. And the traits which have been targeted and phenotyped were several, not only in morphological terms, but also a new concept of physiological trait-based phenotyping was implemented with the help of colleagues from our group like Dr. Neelu Jain and Hari Krishna and Dr. P.K. Singh. And now this is one of the most sound group, I would say, in the country and elsewhere in the world also, and it has been duly recognized in the international forum that we were the one who first of all used this newer techniques for development of populations which are very good in water use efficiency and drought tolerance. And this has we have also utilized the 35K chip for high density genotyping of the population of DBW43 and HI1500, which is a very renowned drought tolerant line from Indore. And probably we can have if not variety, then we can always have genetic stocks which can be registered as one of the sources for drought tolerance and water use efficiency. I am not going to the details because time is limiting. I will skip these slides. Hari Krishna has done his PhD. I think he would have been one of the few people. I think if you remember, Prabhu Sahab, when we offered this MARS based PhD program, none of the students came forward to do this because this was absolutely new. So thanks to him and thanks to the group which was led by Dr. P.K. Singh and Dr. Neelu Jain, with your full support, I think that this is one of the first examples in the world where MARS was utilized for drought tolerance. We had also been doing backcross derived inbred lines for drought tolerance, and a total of 24 different mapping populations were created and developed for drought and heat adaptive traits, and the population size was ranging from 200 to 500 plants per population, and few of the RIL populations were also developed using synthetic hexaploids, because as you know and many of our colleagues know, synthetic hexaploids are rich, very rich resource of genes which have been not been utilized so far in terms of not only drought tolerance, heat tolerance, but also for rust resistance genes. Several of the unexploited genes are there. So we use this for development of population and exploiting the genetic variability which has been there in the synthetic hexaploids, which has been derived at CIMIT by Mujib Kaji and imported in India, and they are there in the repository of NBPGI and also at IARI and has been utilized, and several of the crosses have been made there. So synthetic hexaploids as a diverse source for imparting resistance not only for water use efficiency but also for rust resistance. Now, I would like to draw your attention, sir, which newer things which has happened. This was the thing which you are very well aware of. In one of the papers we have published in scientific reports where a VISTA program was designed. This is one of the program which is web-based program, and it can be used as a web-based tool for distinguishing between two varieties which are very, very similar to each other. And there has been a great demand of this program. I think as far as chairman of PPFRA is also concerned, in case of any kind of dispute between the varieties, we can always take help of this VISTA tool, which is based on 54 SNP filtered from 35,000 SNPs. And this enables variety identification by molecular approach supplementing DUS test. So wherever DUS fails, this VISTA can be of a great help, and it is very effective for construction of core collections, for the utilization of genes, gene bank accessions, and authentication of the germplasm. So this is one of the important developments which has happened in IIWBR, and it has been duly recognized also, and there are several of the citation of this paper coming. And from National Seed Corporation, Haryana State Seed Development Corporation, we are getting indents for resolving the dispute of any kind in this regard. And this is, as I said, is web-based server for crop variety identification. We have also initiated program on CRISPR-Cas based genome editing, and primarily we are involving several of the events where heat tolerance is thought to be improved, and also water use efficiency thought to be improved. But I would like to say that this is probably in the mid-term, and one of the paper has appeared in the molecular breeding from our group in IIWBR, and I hope that in case of wheat, we have initiated this program of CRISPR-based gene editing for heat tolerance and also for drought tolerance, and surely we will be doing this, and on the basis of this we have identified several of the varieties which have a very high level and desirable level of not only heat tolerance but also drought tolerance, and this can be supplied to whosoever wants to use them in their breeding program for improvement of heat and drought tolerance. We have also come with a total cafeteria of genetic resources for different traits. So if you want to improve several of the physiological traits under question, we have genotypes for that, and we are going for registration of these genotypes so that IPR property right is always there with IIWBR, but we are ready to sign this, and this is freely available to anybody who wants to use this. We are also doing work on nitrogen use efficiency, because of late, you might have heard Prime Minister saying several occasions that you have to reduce nitrogenous fertilizer use consumption. So far and so good, because already it has come down because of the neem coating and soil health card. But now we have identified several of the genotypes which are very high in the uptake of nitrogen, and we have also identified some of the genotypes which are low, and we can always go for genetic analysis of this high into low for utilization in the breeding program. Again, this is open and on the public forum if anybody wants to utilize these genotypes, and some of the genotypes are also from IARI, so there is no question of offering. If you want use this, you can always use this. You are almost free to use this, because many of the genotypes which have been identified are from IARI. Water is also a big concern for the policy planners, and you can see here during the last decade in northern India, groundwater levels have fallen as much as 30 centimeter per year, and this is quite a concern for us, and we are developing varieties which can always be good in low water availability situations. One of the papers which have been published in Agriculture Water Management Journal, we have identified 16 genotypes out of core collection of NBPGR which are very high in water use efficiency. And I would like to inform the learned gathering that there is a lot of difference between drought tolerance and water use efficiency. So we have been focusing now on not only drought tolerance but also doing this enormously for increasing of the water use efficiency of the plants. Wheat is one of the crops where water consumption is not as high as rice is, but nonetheless for production of 1 kilogram of wheat we require 600 to 700 liters of water. So that is also very high. I think if it can be reduced to 300 liters, it will be a great contribution in terms of water saving. So far, sir, there has been a lot of talk about wheat quality in the past, and it has been heard that the northern wheat from northern area is not good in wheat quality as compared to the Madhya Pradesh wheat. My friend Sai Prasad is sitting here. I am very happy to inform Sai Prasad also and the entire gathering that by analysis of 30 years of data, we have found out that there has been a significant improvement in wheat quality, and this we have come out with a publication, and our quality in wheat produced from Punjab, Haryana, Western Indo-Gangetic Plain is as good as what is happening in Madhya Pradesh. So, I think 15 days back there was a newspaper report where truckloads of wheat were confiscated by police, which were sold in the name of Madhya Pradesh wheat, but was borrowed from the southern Haryana, the area where Rajbir belongs. So this wheat is as good as the Madhya Pradesh wheat. So this is a very happy situation. We have, I think, 25 million tons of wheat which is surplus. and if Government of India decides to export this wheat to any of the country, not other than the humanitarian ground, because I want to see that India being a major global player in wheat exports, and this can happen only if our quality parameters are as good as the wheat which we are getting from Russia or Australia or anywhere else. So on that front we are very comfortable now, and if government decide to export, the quality of that wheat is at par with Madhya Pradesh wheat. There has been a lot of talk about biofortification, iron, zinc uptake, and we have, of course, as Dr. D.K. Yadav has informed, 17 wheat varieties of wheat have been released, particularly for iron and zinc and several other traits. But when we see the bioavailability of these traits, for example, zinc, the bioavailability is only 8%. But now our research at IIWBR has led to development of genetic stock where we have reduced the phytic acid content significantly and increased the phytate content significantly to higher levels, so that bioavailability levels have gone up to 22%. And this has happened in the population derived from PBW 502, which was subjected to gamma radiation and mutation breeding program. And this genotype has already been registered with NBPGR, and we can supply this material if anybody wants to use this. This is already with NBPGR as registered genetic stock. One of the very important thing which has happened is agronomic biofortification. If you are not able to do genetic biofortification, we have found out that we can simply go by spraying of zinc sulfate, increase the levels of zinc in the grain by just spray of zinc sulfate, and this is also very cheap for the farming community of India. So if we are not able to supplement with biofortified wheats or any other supplement in the atta, then we can always suggest the farmers to go for agronomic biofortification by spraying zinc sulfate. This has happened during the research of 3-4 years, and now there is a recommendation of All India Coordinated Wheat Improvement Program. As far as the studies on iron, zinc absorption and translocation is concerned, I think we are on the midway. I would not like to go on details of this, but QRT PCR validation of transcripts, expression of 12 genes selected from differential gene expression analysis at seedling stage has indicated that there was a comparatively higher expression of genes in flag leaf of more efficient genotypes for iron and zinc, and these genotypes have been identified and will be utilized for wheat improvement program as far as biofortification is concerned. As I told you, the different IT tools which have been developed is Vista and several others which can be utilized. Now this is out of context slide I decided to put into, because there has been a lot of talk about residue burning. This is not a generics and plant breeding issue, but I thought to flag this issue here, because this is a multidisciplinary audience, and we have developed one machinery, Dr. V.K. Singh Sahab, which is much better than what we hear from happy seeder, turbo happy seeder. And we have gone for a phenomena of rotary disc system in this, and this can be very phenomenal in decreasing the residue burning, because this is a 24/7 operation seed drill. Whereas when we compare this seed drill with that of turbo happy seeder, we found that find that it is working only for 5 to 6 hours in a day. So this can be one of the important benchmarks in coming future, where government the proposal has already been submitted to the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperation and Farmers Welfare. We are likely to get a subsidy, and then it released for farmers' use. Another thing which has happened in the past is wheat blast. The threat of wheat blast looming large over Indian wheat cultivation, but fortunately so far there has been no report of wheat blast in India, thanks to the support of Government of India and also the state governments of West Bengal and Bihar and Simit also, because we had been regularly testing our material in Bolivia and also in Bangladesh, and we have come up with 27 varieties which are showing high level of resistance to wheat blast. So on that account also, and our new varieties like DBW 187 is highly resistant to wheat blast. So on that front also the situation is very comfortable. I will not go into details because many of the things, the story has already been written in front of none other than Dr. K.V. Prabhu. So there is no point in making all these things. I would like to thank at least two persons in the past who have mentored me. One is Dr. S. Nagarajan, and the second person is sitting here, and probably because of these two people I am standing here. Otherwise I don't know what had my fate. So I am really thankful to you because I cannot say a personal thank to Dr. S. Nagarajan. He is departed soul now, and I would also like to thank my colleagues in the serial lab, Dr. P.K. Singh, Dr. Hari Krishna, Dr. Neelu Jain, and also the students who were involved with me during my course of my research work, because most of the time the contributions which have been made were made by these people, a majority of them I would say, and I am taking advantage of hard work they have done in the fields, probably I would put in this way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for a stimulating presentation of outstanding achievements. I request the chairman of the session for his remarks.
Friends, first an ovation to him. Congrats, GP. From whatever he narrated, the belongingness was very obvious. That's what is important in our research phenomena, which turns out into products and for use to the people for whose purpose it has been bred or developed or researched. That is something GP has done fantastically well, really well, and I congratulate you, GP, for executing this. And see, there are many things which came up in his presentation. The tools or the new areas in research which normally get a person who is doing research get lost into the intricacies and the detailing. In doing that, you would lose track. The Arjun's vision does not take into course what is the density of wind when the arrow is moving from the bow to the eye of the bird. It doesn't look at what are the possible barricades that the trajectory may experience. That is not seen in the efforts Arjun is making. That's what GP did. That's what GP executed, as you could see very clearly in his approaches in taking new tools, while others were toiling hard to look at the possibilities and things to avoid and things to not get lost in the way. He would somehow take the step further and jump over hurdles and as it required. That's what he did. And I must say this as an example which is very critical in agriculture. When I was doing my PhD in IARI, I would not take the name. One of the associates with my chairperson was fantastic, brilliant in the subject of genetics. I have not seen anybody as brilliant as he is in understanding the science of genetics and the plant breeding processes, and including methodologies and the intricacies related to the population genetic phenomena. But the knowledge itself became a big hurdle for him. Even as a young student in my 20s, I could make out that this man is not going to do big deal in research outputs, because he would get lost in the finer details and lose the track. the concern, because he understands that if you press the pedal a little more, this much of fuel will go in. If this much fuel goes in, this much of carbon will be, I mean, things of this kind. In the effect, he will not even press the accelerator. That is what happened, and this is what GP avoided, and that is how he succeeded. And all of us should therefore target what we want to achieve and then make best use of the environment available, and that's what GP has done fantastically well, and that's what the role model in practical plant breeding, or at least technology development wings, has to be. That's what makes it successful, and that's the difference between two workers. See, like we are now, both of us are not IARI now, but the team will flourish because each person's identity niche, although it is very difficult, friends, to make total dedicated team service as unit of the team because of the competition that is intricate, and also the scoring systems which we have, and take the first authorship and things of this kind, which the faster we undo this thing, the better we will be in enhancing the team activity. And that's what is important. That's for the Director IARI to think of now, how to make best use of the fantastic ability IARI has in the multidiscipline and those things. GP has executed that and displayed that too, and we must congratulate him again. And GP, congratulations for this fantastic outcome.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable remarks. I now request Honorable Director Dr. A.K. Singh and Dean and Joint Director Education Dr. Rashmi Agarwal to kindly do the honor of presenting a shawl and memento to the esteemed chair of the session, Dr. K.V. Prabhu. I now request our respected Dean and Joint Director Education for a vote of thanks.
Thank you. Good evening, all of you. It's my pleasure and proud privilege to propose a formal vote of thanks. Before I proceed, my heartfelt greetings and congratulations to Dr. G.P. Singh for getting this prestigious 5th A.B. Joshi Memorial Award. Congratulations, Dr. G.P. Singh. I would like to thank our esteemed Dr. K.V. Prabhu, Chairperson PPV FRA, and Chairman of this particular award function, and for accepting our invitation and coming and gracing the occasion and giving such a beautiful account of all the wheat improvement program journey and how Dr. G.P. Singh took part and be a part of the team. Sir, thank you so much for accepting invitation and gracing the occasion. I would like to thank Dr. A.K. Singh, our director, who had been always a source of inspiration and guiding and always giving all the suggestions and supporting the whole organization of this 58th Convocation Week program. So this was the end of the third day program. I thank you all the distinguished guests. I see Dr. D.K. Yadav, Dr. Man Singh, and all the heads of the divisions, professors, faculty, students, staff, and others. Thank you very much, all of you, and also the stage management people who manage the stage so well. Thank you, all of you. And then we are breaking today with the end of the third day of 58th Convocation Week program. Thank you once again.